East and happy Friday to you, everybody. Jeff Kerr, Tone DeShields here. I love how Tone's licking his chops. I hope you guys are beating the weather, enjoying this rainy day with us. And I wanted to point this out as we start the show today, Tone. I was going to save it for the end, but I don't know if you've heard the famous song "Brandy, You're a Fine Girl." But it's
I think I heard my dad play it before. I actually had to tell him.
Or if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, I have.
Well, that song was 50 years old yesterday. I forgot to mention it.
Sheesh.
Turned 50.
You know
it's
what?
One of my favorite songs.
You know what? We have to start coming with the fun facts for the show. We have to start coming with fun facts because you're not going to keep catching me off guard with some of these fun facts, Jeff.
I got a lot of fun facts for you, like how Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Yeah, he's playing 7 different systems since high school.
Well, everyone technically is a system quarterback. Everywhere a quarterback goes, the coaches, the front office want to put in place players and a system and scheme that elevates that player's ability or that showcases that player's ability in the best way. So by nature, every quarterback is a system quarterback. It's people like to use it as a slight because he now has players around him. But we've seen what he looks like, especially last season. We've seen what Jalen Hurts looks like when he doesn't have an A.J. Brown type. We've seen that. Because let's be totally honest about this offense. It's only one thing has changed. And they've added A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith was there last year. Dallas Goedert was there last year. And Jalen Hurts did what he did. He got the team to the playoffs. Miles Sanders was there last year. Kenny Gainwell, all those guys, they were there last year. So you add A.J. Brown and all of a sudden all the detractors come into play. It's so fascinating to me, right? And this, we're not even going to bring up the guy in Dallas, right? We're moving forward from that. Now, now everyone's coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh yeah, he's a system quarterback. It's tailor made for him." No shit, it's tailor made for him. Well, yes. The Philadelphia Eagles aren't a run-first team or a pass-first team. They're a Jalen Hurts first team. Shout out to my man John McMullen for coining that phrase.
Also, here's a good one for you. How he basically said without saying if Brock Purdy was better than Jalen Hurts.
Come on, man.
You want to talk about system quarterbacks? You and I could have thrown to some of those open receivers last night.
Absolutely. Right. If we want to continue to use that whole term system quarterback, the only team, in my opinion, that has a system that is literally plug and play. It doesn't matter who you are. My grandma could go back there and probably play quarterback, and that's San Francisco. They have built something in such a way that it doesn't matter who is back there. The offense still runs like a well-oiled machine. That, if there is a system quarterback like everyone else, by everyone else's definition of a system quarterback, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, that is a system. They're system quarterbacks. But even then, I don't like to even use the term because everyone technically is. People just love to change their connotation of the phrase or of the term.
And I was telling people too, I'm not surprised Brock Purdy is playing as well as he is because one, the 49ers aren't going to make him do too much, and they're not. And two, yeah, he's got a lot of talent around him too, and it helps. Like, it's a great system. And you got the talent. You got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Deebo Samuel didn't play last night, but still, George Kittle's still one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. You got Brandon Ayuk, who's a really underrated receiver. That team is good. Like, bottom line, that's why I didn't think they were going to fall that much off a cliff because Brock Purdy's our quarterback. Now, do I want to see Brock Purdy against better teams? Yes, but it's not the 49ers' fault. Tampa Bay's not good, and Seattle is not good.
Yeah, Seattle kind of started off hot, and now they're starting to taper off. Like most of these teams, right? They had success early, and now you're starting to see, okay, the flaws are starting to show. The limitations are starting to show. Because once you get to this part in the season, now the real start to separate from the fake. The pretenders start to separate from the contenders. And that's okay because Geno Smith has had a great season. I feel like Geno Smith has shocked the world with how he's played, and
he didn't play bad last night either.
I'm so proud of Geno Smith. Geno Smith is a guy who has had a turbulent career. Team to team, system to system, and now he's finally had an opportunity to really show what he's learned by being around guys like Eli Manning at one point, and I believe Who else did he play with? He's been around the NFL for quite some time. But overall, though,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. But San Francisco, again, a very well-oiled machine. Have nothing but respect for Kyle Shanahan and those boys over there. If I'm being completely frank with you, the only team that makes me uncomfortable is San Francisco.
I would agree with that.
And I understand Dallas is Dallas is supposed to be one of those teams, but Dallas doesn't bring fear into me or make me uncomfortable because Dallas is more prone to beat themselves in the long run. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I don't think they're that kind of team. I just feel that the San Francisco 49ers defense is so good. They play so fast. They know how to force turnovers. It just seems like that. It just seems like when they play football, they're playing at a different speed than everyone else.
And by the way, Nick Bosa is the defensive player of the year, and no one should try to talk me out of that because what he's doing this year is just been phenomenal. I mean, the guy gets a sack, gets called for roughing the passer. And what does he do? Well, I'll just say I'll get another sack. Like, he could beat you on both ends. I'll tell you what, Nick Bosa versus Jordan Mailata will be a fun matchup if those two be in the playoffs. Like, Nick Bosa is just out of this world good. I last year when we were all gushing about TJ Watt, I kept telling people, Nick Bosa's having a really good year in San Francisco. Well, it's not a TJ Watt year. I'm like, I understand that, but he's having a really good year. This year, he is far and away the best pass rusher in football. No disrespect to Micah Parsons. No disrespect to TJ Watt or anybody else. Nick Bosa is really, really good at football. And I think the biggest travesty we're getting with the NFC East this year is only one team has seen Nick Bosa. Only one. And that would be the Washington Commanders. They're the only team to see him. The Eagles aren't going to see him to the playoffs. The Cowboys wouldn't see him to the playoffs. And the 49ers are going to be a top 3 seed, Tone. They're not going to be lower than 4. So if the Eagles get the 1 seed, they won't see the 49ers until the NFC Championship.
Man.
Assuming they both get there. And
that will be really exciting.
You know who else will avoid them? Dallas.
Dallas don't want San Francisco in the first. They don't want to play them.
I said it last year when Dallas was smoking the Eagles against the Eagles backups in Week 18. I'm like, they're losing the 49ers. Why do you think that? I'm like, because San Francisco's better than them and Kyle Shanahan's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. He'll find a way to win that game. And he did. And the 49ers are red hot right now, by the way. They won 7 in a row. They started 3-4. And they're 7-0 when Christian McCaffrey starts and finishes a game. So, I mean, look, I'll say his point out, the Eagles fan. This is a good team. This is a very good team. They are more than formidable opponent. I really like what San Francisco's building out there. That's why I enjoyed watching that game last night. It wasn't the most exciting game, but it's a fun team to watch. It's a fun team to see how Kyle Shanahan gets as creative as he does. I mean, I'm telling you, I still can't believe how wide open George Kittle was. And I think part of that is the scheme, and part of that is Seattle's pass defense is not good.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is.
I shouldn't say their pass defense isn't good. I shouldn't say their defense isn't good in general because they do have some nice young players in there with Kobe Bryant and
Tariq Woolen.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Tariq Woolen is a stud.
Isn't he a rookie?
He is a rookie. He's tied for league in interceptions.
Wow, amazing, man. Talk about getting back what you lost in that Russell Wilson trade. They made the most of it, I'll tell you that. But yeah, the San Francisco 49ers are definitely going to be a team that you got to watch. But, another team that needs to be watched this weekend are the Philadelphia Eagles when they go against the Chicago Bears. Now, of course, the Chicago Bears are a team that isn't necessarily a team that you want to write home about. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. But now they're at the point where they can play Mr. Upset, right? They can be the team that, ruins someone's seeding and so on and so forth. I don't think that's really going to happen this weekend. I think the Eagles are just too good. I think they're just too dominant in what they do. But the Eagles still have to go in there and be careful. You're still going to Chicago. You don't want to go there and slip up in the Windy City.
Tone, I wanted to bring this up to you since the Eagles are playing the Bears. If you had your choice, say you had 2 TVs, right? But you can only watch one. Dallas plays at 1-2. Would you watch Dallas and Jacksonville over the Eagles this weekend?
That's a really, really good question. I pride myself on not missing any Eagles games. So I feel like my natural inclination would be to watch the Eagles game, but you always got to have your eye on the enemy. And it's nothing better than watching Dallas crumble and fumble and tumble. So I don't know, Jeff. That's a tough one, but I think I'm gonna have to go on my gut. I think I'll probably be watching the Eagles game. And I'll probably rewatch Dallas on NFL Plus.
You know what I did today? Well, I shouldn't say today. I did it yesterday. So I had to do a Thursday night football game last night. So I wanted to get myself excited for football. I'm like, oh, Eagles play the Bears this week. Let's watch some classic Eagles-Bears games. I put on the Fog Bowl. I didn't want to put on the Fog Bowl, but I did. And then I finished it off with the playoff game from 2001, which still has one of my favorite touchdown celebrations of all time because of how cold it was when Cecil Warren scored that touchdown and everybody just huddled. Him and Deuce Staley, they spun the football and everybody just huddled around like it was a fire. That's still one of the greatest touchdown celebrations I've ever seen.
It's so funny. Speaking of classic Bears games and so on and so forth, Tom Thayer, he was on the network earlier this week. He was on the National Football Show with Dan Sileo, and he made a very striking comparison between the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles and the 1985 Chicago Bears. And it blew my mind. And it also blew Dan Sileo's mind. She was shocked that Tom Thayer, legendary offensive lineman,
for the 85 Bears team. Isn't Dan shocked by how good Jalen Hurts is?
Very much so. But hear me out on this, right? Tom Thayer, a guy who played for the 85 Bears team, right? He compared the Eagles of this year to that team. And he brought up multiple reasons. He said when watching the Eagles, he compared, various categories they're dominant in and compared it to the 85 Bears and the categories they were dominant in and just how they play football and the physicality, so on and so forth. He just like, this team just gives me that vibe. And, he's one of those guys that doesn't believe in the whole narrative that, dual-threat quarterbacks can't win Super Bowls. When he was asked, do you think Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl? He said, oh, definitely. Definitely. I don't see why he can't. I don't buy into the whole narrative of a dual-threat quarterback.
Here's a stat for you for those running, scrambling quarterbacks can't win Super Bowls theory. So, of the top 10 quarterbacks in rushing yards all time, 7 have made a championship game or Super Bowl. Actually, they're all in the Super Bowl era. 7 have made the Super Bowl. 3 have won it. One of them is Aaron Rodgers. Do we count him as he's a running quarterback if he's in top 10 rushing yards all the time? Of the top 10 in rushing touchdowns all time, 7 have made a championship and 4 have won it. So don't give me that running quarterbacks can't win. I'm sorry. That's just a BS narrative to me. That just speaks. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it, but don't tell me Russell Wilson's won a championship. Steve Young's won a championship. John Elway isn't even in the top 10 rushing yards all time for a quarterback, and he's won a championship. I think Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, he's won. He runs a bit, not as much as those guys I'm mentioning, but he ran. Don't tell me Jalen Hurts can't win a championship. These guys can win a championship. Lamar Jackson can win a championship. You give him the talent around him. These guys are good enough to win.
Yeah, it's to me, it's a meaningless stat because for more often than not, the league didn't have mobile quarterbacks like it does now. So that stat of mobile quarterbacks are 0 for 56 in the Super Bowl, it doesn't that stat is weird to me because
it's wrong. It's flat out wrong because I've seen mobile quarterbacks win championships. Russell Wilson did. I just gave you the top 10 all-time rushing list for quarterbacks. Russell Wilson's on it. Aaron Rodgers is on it. Steve Young's on it. They got championships.
Yeah, I feel like people like to pretend Russell wasn't running for his life back then.
People like
maybe not running for his life, but
people like to pretend Steve Young didn't run either, or John Elway. It's weird. Aaron Rodgers ran. He scrambled.
Yeah, especially early in his career. Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's a BS narrative. It really is. It's one of those, like, it's just as BS as Jalen Hurts as a system quarterback. Well, yeah. We're all system quarterbacks. I'm a system radio show host. I'm sure as hell a system bowler. I proved that last night.
listen, I'm a system producer. I'm a system pinch hitter. I come in and I come out of the reserves for guys. You know what I'm saying? Like today, I'm going to be on Birds 365 in the second hour, with Jody Mack. John's going to have to go down to the NovaCare complex and do his Nick Sirianni thing. And, the bottom line is
John McMullen is a system writer.
Like we're all in situations that are optimal for our success. Right?
Exactly.
No one's going to put themselves in a situation where they can't thrive. So because I put myself in a situation, or a situation was put around me for me to thrive, that makes me less of a performer. That makes no sense to me, because if you put anyone in non-optimal conditions, the chances of them being successful are slim, no matter how talented you are. You can listen, I don't care what no one says. You put Patrick Mahomes in Houston, he is not the same person. I don't care what no one says. You call it a hot take if you want. You put Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes in Houston, that team does not look the same. He doesn't perform the same.
Actually, I got a much better example. So Steelers fans got a little upset with me last night, but I think they know where I was getting this at. I said Brock Purdy has more touchdown passes than Kenny Pickett this year. It wasn't even a diss at Kenny Pickett. And Steelers fans were like, well, you got to count the offensive line and how bad their team is. I'm like, or the 49ers are much better than the Steelers. I think you guys are understanding where I'm getting this at here. Like, you put Kenny Pickett with the 49ers, he's probably doing what Brock Purdy's doing. It's just the way it is, right? It's not a slight on Brock Purdy. It's not a slight on Kenny Pickett. It's like you said earlier, Tone, it's a well-oiled machine. The Steelers are trying to figure out how to get that machine back. The 49ers already have that. Like you said, Jalen Hurts, everybody was with this team last year. What's the difference? Well, they got A.J. Brown, they got Zach Pascal. They made Quez Watkins pretty much a 3 or a 4 instead of a 2. Miles Sanders was still there last year. The offensive line was still there last year. That offense is the same. It's just another year with Shane Steichen, another year of Hurts developing. That's what drives me nuts too. You mean to tell me people can't get better at stuff? Ever? I've gotten better at stuff over the years. I'm sure you have. I'll say this. I sucked at basketball when I was 11 and 12. Absolutely sucked. But I played. And I just kept working and getting better. I actually became pretty decent toward my high school years, and I'm pretty good as an adult because I worked on my shot and I worked on my game. It's not exactly difficult to get better. You just got to put in the work. Jalen Hurts does that all the time. Like, I don't get this mindset in sports. Like, how did he get this good? They do work at this stuff.
Oh, man, that is hilarious. Well, listen, you know what else keeps on getting better and better and better? This show, Good Morning NFC East. And you know why? Because we continue to have high-quality, top-tier guests coming in. And next we have the legendary Rob Ellis, 2-time Emmy winner, host on WIP, JAKIB Sports and Sports Take. Come on, man. When you hear Rob Ellis, you know the bell has been rung. You know what it is, you guys.
Tone DeShields, when I ever win something, I just want you to present for me because you're just going to hype me up to no end.
Hey, listen, Jeff, I'm one of those guys that lead with love. Love makes the world go round. I don't care what no one says. And guess what? I love Rob Ellis, man. He does great work on Sports Take. He does great work on JAKIB Sports and WIP, man. He's one of those guys that I pay very close attention to because I consider myself someone who's trying to learn how to direct traffic in his media game. He's one of the best moderators, one of the best point guards in this thing right now. And he's someone that I love to watch and study because that's my ultimate goal, right? To be the ultimate point guard in this thing. And I'm going to pass it to my man, Jeff Kerr. And next, we're going to pass it to our guy, Rob Ellis. This is Good Morning NFC East. I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II. And as always, I'm here with the main man, Jeff Kerr. Keep it locked, you guys. You don't want to miss this.
Post-game show with